Trump paid $750 in taxes in his election year and his first year of presidency, and no income tax in 10 of the previous 15 years. He is currently in an audit with the IRS, which I'm actually surprised he wasn't lying about this because I just assume everything he says he's lying. So he actually is being audited because he claimed a $72.9 million tax refund, which they no longer believe him. And if he loses that battle, he might owe over 100 million. And he also owes over $300 million in loans, personal loans, um, that, as opposed to like corporate loans or whatever. These are personal due loans that are due in the next 4 years. And the really interesting thing here with his taxes and the fact that he paid $750 is that's a very similar number to Richard Nixon in 1970, who paid $792.81 in taxes. And when that was revealed, that is what set the precedent up until now, all the way until like Donald Trump, where presidents had to declare their taxes publicly. Yeah. And so it's funny that it's like within a few dollars of what set the precedent because yeah.
But that 700 and change that Nixon paid was on $200,000 in income versus which is still bad, but like Trump's is on like I think what he claims is like $500 million in income or some shit. So it's like,
yep,
it doesn't paint a good picture. These tax returns. It's like either he's a shit businessman who just keeps losing money and therefore writes off all these losses, or he doesn't pay his taxes like through some sort of fraud.
Yeah.
So either way, not great, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. His supporters are his supporters. They're never gonna. Literally nothing will change. Nothing will change their minds. Like they're going down with shit.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter. Like for us, we were like, yeah, sure. I mean, we, like most of his supporters are like, this is unsourced, and they did like the New York Times is fake news, and they didn't release the, any of the details, blah 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 blah. And I was like, you think the New York Times just made this shit up? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, there's nowhere else to go with this conversation.
Yeah. It's just so logical that he lies, and it always baffles me that there's so many supporters who are like, oh no, we believe everything he says. I'm like, how? What rose colored glasses are you wearing? They're not even rose, they're just fogged up and you can't see because it's just so apparent. I'm like, if he were a child in kindergarten, I would be like, go to the corner, face it, don't come out of that corner until I don't know.
Well, yeah, what I don't understand is like all these a lot of supporters are always like, well, I don't believe anything from the news because they don't have a source, and I need the source and blah blah. And when there is a source, they attack the source. So that's a whole different thing. And yet, when Trump is like, people say blah 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 blah, and like just says some bullshit, they're like, yeah, people is a source.
Yeah, this is why I never argue with crazy people.
I've heard
like,
whatever.
Yeah, like I mean, what I mean is like the actual details never matter. Like,
no, they don't.
Arguing points because people they already have a perspective, and anything they say is just to back up their perspective. It's never like genuine, actual. Like, I won't actually talk to somebody unless I think that they're actually open to having their positions change. This is funny because like on this show, I do take very strong positions. That is part of like a debate show. But even in real life, I do take very strong positions, which is helpful being a comedian to not, be neutral on things. But, there's times in my life where my mind has been totally changed. And if I feel like that's not possible with somebody, I won't even talk to them. Like there's no point. Like,